soon. It'd be easier for me if I didn't feel like I was abandoning you. I want to be loved from as many people as possible. But truth is, I'm not really a good person.
Well, Dax, I had a horrifying reckoning.
Oh, yeah?
A couple weekends ago. It was, I think, all of the movies that we've trashed on were able to take a horrible revenge against me in one night of absolute terror.
They heard.
Because I was fortunate enough to go to Halloween Horror Nights in Universal Studios Hollywood.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was actually pretty sweet. I don't know if you know what it is, but like it's like...
I mean, I assume it's similar to like the Fright Nights at Six Flags, but more licensed.
It in my opinion, it was like way cooler than that though, because like they would like, it's not like Fright Fest at Six Flags, right? You go in there and they just like dress it up spooky and then they call it a day and you just go on the rides. But like this, they will actually shut down a lot of the rides in the park and then they'll reformat the park to accommodate for like these giant like haunted houses.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, which end up being licensed properties because they're Universal, so they own a crap load of movies. They own Blumhouse, the production studio, so they're able to pull from that. And that's where Michael Myers and the guy from the Black Phone, they took their vengeance on me for saying bad things about their movies.
OMG. Michael's mad.
Yeah, he was really angry with me.
He's like, what the fuck? You don't like that I'm cursed by a thorn?
Yeah.
What the hell, dude?
No, but it was like unironically really cool. And like it was the best haunted house experience I've ever had.
That's cool.
Like 100%. Like if anybody gets to go, like I would highly recommend it. Obviously, they're doing it all the way through October, I think in Florida and Hollywood. Okay. So I just want to talk about the Halloween house specifically because we're in the midst of the Halloween marathon.
Yeah.
But it's like, the format of them is like so cool because it's just like a giant like tent. It's probably like 200 feet, goes to like 200 feet back, and it's like 50 feet wide, something like that. Right. Okay. So you go in line and you walk up to it, and the front of the tent is like a facade that they make that looks like the Myers house.
Gotcha. So like the front is kind of like a set, and then when you go in, it's like okay.
Yeah, exactly. And like it was like just so cool and so well made. They must have pumped a lot of money into it because like just the facade, like they had like the window would light up and you get to see Judith Myers up in the window.
Okay, that's cool.
And then and you could see her like brushing her hair like she does right before she gets killed. And then if you're waiting there long enough, you'll eventually see Kid Michael come and stab her.
That's pretty awesome.
Yes, and then when the experience continues from there, because you're just like literally just living through the first movie, the 1978 one. Like you walk in and you're in like that opening area of the Myers house, and then Kid Michael's like standing at the top of the stairs, like looking down at you.
Yeah.
And you go to your left, and there's like a whole hallway of just doors that are all closed. And I'm sure you can see where this is going.
Yeah.
But then it's like lots of hallways and then scenes that are recreated where people pop out and like they'll like play like that sound that plays in 1978 one where whenever you see Michael. And then there'll be like flashing strobe lights. And like it was just so actually scary, and like my fight or flight response kicked in like 100 times that night, just going through that one.
You've probably seen so many Halloween movies, you just assume Michael is a real person.
Yeah, honestly.
Was there Loomis at all?
Oh yeah, no. When I was in line, I was with a friend of the podcast, Garrett.
Yes.
Because I was visiting him, and we were saying that's the one thing I wanted to see was Loomis somehow.
Loomis
in
jump
there.
scares you. He just waved his gun at your head.
Jump scared you. It would have been hilarious if some guy just came out of the door and is like, "Where is he? Where's the evil? Have you seen him?
He's not a man."
Yeah. But no, it was cool. It was like, because the end of it, you're like at the end of the movie. So you see him like pop out of the doorway and he shoots Michael, and Michael falls over the railing onto the yard out back.
Did they have the iconic grass stain?
I wish. No, you didn't even get to see him when he fell. But yeah, no, it was honestly like really, really cool, and I would highly recommend it. And it's like, it wasn't just a Halloween one, because there's like 10 different haunted houses all around the park. And like you get like so much bang for your buck. I think it's like $50-$60, something like that, if you buy it online for a discount. And you just get to go to all these like really high quality like haunted houses that are based off movies. Like there was a Killer Clowns one, and then
that one seems like it'd be really fun.
Oh yeah, that one, like the front facade, they had a whole like guy that would come out and perform all night. Like it was,
that's cool.
It was the farmer from that movie. Like he comes out looking for his dog. And then he sees the circus tent that's like landed in his crops, and he's like, "What the hell? I'm gonna get you guys out of here!" And then he grabs it and he gets electrocuted. Like he literally reenacted that entire scene over and over again.
That's gonna be a tiring job, though.
Oh yeah. The thing that was cool about it too was like they designed it so that it was like just a voice track that would play over the speakers.
Oh, gotcha.
So at least he didn't have to like continually like say the dialogue. Yeah.
Imagine that man goes home and he's like so paranoid that what if the killer clowns are real?
Yeah.
Because it's just so like ingrained in his head.
Yeah, he's not even like part of the performance. He's just some homeless guy that
I've seen their cotton candy cocoons, I tell you.
But yeah, it was just like really cool, and the black phone one was cool. It was like literally like,
yeah, I'm curious what that one is.
It was the same thing, same idea as
just like in the basement.
Yeah, like you walk through like scenes from the movie basically. So like they're like exact recreations of like the rooms. So like you'll walk in and you'll be in that front room in the black phone that like his brother is like sitting down doing his conspiracy theories. Like they had that whole and like you walk down into the basement, and it was just like, it was like crazy how much effort they put into it. And then they made one for Freaky too, which is like not even that popular of a movie.
Yeah. Hey, you got the rights.
I know, yeah. And that one was cool too, because they had there's like a really cool Saw kill in that movie where where the girl like kills that wood shop. Yeah. And they reenacted that with like a really like realistic like Hollywood level makeup looking dummy.
Oh, that's awesome.
And the lady would like push him through every time someone came in that room. It was
that
just
reminds
like
me
awesome.
of when I went to see the Evil Dead musical. They did the part where, you know, he puts the head of the demon in the what's that called, where it like holds the stuff in place. You know what I'm talking about? They're on like the workshop tables.
Oh, damn it. I know what it's called, but it's on the tip of my tongue.
They basically had that like in a cart, and they clearly just had the person's head. Like they were sitting in the table.
Oh, through
and
a
then
hole.
their head was coming out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Ash like took the chainsaw and like went into their head, and they had like jets coming from the table, just spraying blood everywhere.
That's awesome.
It was pretty cool.
I've always wanted to see Evil Dead the musical. It looks like so much fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's really awesome, and you gotta get in the splash zone. And they even sell like tarps and stuff.
Oh, okay. Because you get that much on you. That's crazy.
Oh yeah. They had just had extra blood, and they just dumped an entire bucket on some kid.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
That was in the front row. Like Ash just came out and just dumped it on him.
Yeah, I've heard of people who go there with like their white wedding dresses.
Yeah.
And they just want to get it just soaked in blood. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
they would sell like white T-shirts.
Oh really?
Too.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
and it
awesome.
says like the Evil Dead musical logo on it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I want to go again. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's really sweet.
Well, you know what else is a fun time? Porn. Porn. Because that's the subject of this episode with Pearl.
Oh,
the
yeah.
sequel to X. Mm-hmm. Or prequel, sorry.
Prequel
to X. And I think Pearl is about if you don't get porn, what will happen?
It's very true. You need to get your rocks off, or else you're gonna go mentally ill. Apparently,
Or else you're gonna fuck a scarecrow.
yeah. Do you want to know another saga in my dad watching movies?
Oh no, yeah.
Somehow my dad saw this movie the same day that we saw it.
Oh wow. Wait, had he seen X?
That's what he didn't even know that it was a prequel to X.
Oh, okay.
So he just saw like the poster for Pearl, and he's like, "Ugh, I'll see that." So we just went and saw that, and then the next day when I woke up, he was down in the kitchen, and he wanted to talk to me about some movie he saw, and he was like, "Yeah, I saw some movie yesterday. It was called by some girl's name," and I was like, Pearl," and he's like, "Yeah, that's it," and I was like,
God.
"Oh, okay."
Did he like it?
He thought it was weird. He specifically mentioned the scarecrow scene because he was like, "What was the point of that? That didn't add anything to the story."
Oh my god.
And I was like, "Well, do you know that it's a prequel to a different movie?" And he's like, "No, what movie?" And I was like, "X." And he's like, "I don't think I've seen that." And then once I described more of the movie, then he's like, "Oh yeah, I did see that."
Oh my god. Classic dad move.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. Once he puts it on, he's like, "Oh wait, I have seen this movie."
Yeah.
And then just watches the whole thing again.
Yeah. Yeah, because he was saying he's like, "Oh man, it would have been really interesting to see what her husband's reaction was at the end of the movie, like if you left her or anything." And I was like, "Well, have you seen the movie X? Because you find out,
You know what happens.
yeah,
Yeah.
just funny." I did really like this movie though. I thought it was awesome.
No, yeah, Pearl is awesome. I like it just as much as X, I think. Mm-hmm. I like X a little bit more, simply because it's kind of like one of my favorite movies, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's kind of like an ode to that. Mm-hmm. And it's I feel like so many horror movies try to be Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but never get the feeling right.
Yeah,
And I think X comes closest to it.
and like a lot of Texas Chainsaw movies can't even get the feeling right.
Yeah. I think only the original did.
Yeah, literally.
That was it. But yeah, so for those that don't know about A24's gamble with the franchise that they're making, they're basically just said, we're going to make a franchise.
Yeah.
And they filmed X and Pearl at the same time. And there's a reason why. It literally only cost like $2 or something million to make both of these movies. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why they're so willing to just say, sure, fuck it, make two at once. I don't care. But it just helped that X is so good.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure that they knew they were in good hands with Ty West writing and directing both of these.
Yeah, I mean, I still think if you have a guy that likes horror, he will direct a good horror movie.
Oh yeah, and it's like he's one of those. Ty West is one of those people who definitely understands the genre.
Yes.
It seems like just from these two movies I've watched from him, like he just has like such a big love for it. Because I can't think of another good slasher movie even the past decade. Like there's none really that are as good as X. Like none even come close.
Yeah, and especially that hold that like emotional like resonance that X does. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like so many movies fail to make you feel sympathy for the killer. Mm-hmm. Because again, they're a serial killer, right?
Right.
I don't expect to go in a serial killer movie and be like, oh, I feel bad for them. I like them. You know?
Yeah.
I get like, oh, they have a tragic story and that's why they're killing. And Ty West like understands that. Mm-hmm. It's not, oh, we need to make our antagonist likable. It should be like, let's try to empathize with them a bit, but let's not undermine the fact that they're still terrible.
Right. Yeah.
And X has that perfect balance.
Mm-hmm. And then I feel like this movie Pearl takes that idea and really expands upon it, because that's like the whole thesis statement of this movie basically is like how you can like still be kind of a good person, but like your circumstances around you and maybe something that some things you can't even control that are within you, like kind of change your life and make you into a bad person.
Yeah, it's kind of like the nature versus nurture debate.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
and in this case, it's kind of like both.
Yeah.
Because Pearl, innately something is wrong. Like,
Yeah.
she really likes hurting things.
Yeah.
And we see that a lot in this one. And she even like says that too, where she's like, I'm different. You know, I like when I hurt animals. I like when people are in pain. But yeah, so Pearl is this prequel to X. It follows our killer from the first movie, Pearl. And it's set, it was like 1918, I think, right?
Yeah, 1918.
Yeah. And it's essentially her on the farm. She wants to be a dancer. Her evil mother will not let her. And it leads to a lot of death. And I think that's as much as you can kind of get into it without spoiling.
Yeah.
But it's so bizarre. Like, I don't know, it's just so weird. I've never seen like a turnaround this quick for another movie. And I will say I was more excited for Pearl than I am for like any of like the horror movies coming out the end of this year.
Yeah, honestly.
This was the one I was excited for the most.
Because you know it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, X was incredible. So I was like, especially if they filmed it at the same time.
right.
You know? It's like if they were putting that much care into X, you definitely are going to see it with Pearl.
Oh, yeah. And I was thinking about this too, where it's like, you know, we've studied the Texas Chainsaw and Halloween franchises, where it's like, a lot of those movies, they lose the understanding of the characters as the movies go on, because it's just been years since whoever wrote them did originally. So I just was thinking after watching this, like how unique of a situation it was that they could write both of those scripts like in the same time frame. So all those characters they wrote originally are still really fresh in their mind. So that understanding of them doesn't go away.
And I think it's cool because like a lot of X is about Pearl seeing herself in Maxine and getting a lot of those like feelings brought back up. And watching Pearl, you see a lot of Maxine's character.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially like Pearl even says like she's special. Like she's like, I'm not meant to be here. I'm meant to be a star. And that is exactly what Maxine says in X.
Yeah, pretty much word for word.
And there's a lot of like little stuff that Pearl sets up for X as well. Even just minor like throwaway stuff. Because like remember in X when the husband brings her like the blonde and Pearl kills her and she's just like, I don't like blondes.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, and then in Pearl, like she got turned down because they were looking for a blonde.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I did not think about that. That makes total sense, though, now that you bring it up. That's awesome.
Also, I just want to say, I know it's not going to happen, but MIa Goth deserves an Oscar or something.
Oh, my God, yeah.
I know they don't give horror movies Oscars, but her, like, monologue was incredible.
Yeah, and I think I remember reading afterwards that it's like 9 minutes long or some shit like that.
It felt long, too.
It
like
did.
Not in a bad way.
Oh, yeah.
But you're just like, oh my gosh, she's still going.
Because I think it's so emotionally affecting. Like, it just feels like it's like so much. Oh, yeah, really uncomfortable.
And then when you're watching, you're like, oh my god, she's like confessing all of this to her like sister-in-law.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's very similar to it's like a more in-depth version of the Toni Collette monologue in Hereditary.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah,
I was getting the same vibes, but that one like boils up, and then Pearl's like starts at like a 10 and slowly goes down. But it's like what she's saying is so like fucked up.
Oh yeah. It's just so disturbing, and like in that moment, like I know like the sister-in-law was pretending to be Howard.
Yeah.
Like, it also just shows how crazy Pearl is, because, like, you could tell that she really thought that she was talking to Howard. Like, she can, like, disassociate, like, that well. Like, and it, like, you could really tell that she truly meant all those things, and that made her, like, seem so much more crazy.
Yeah. She definitely has a lot of like safety nets in her mind to make her life better than it is. And you see that well, I mean we should just say spoilers from here on out.
Yeah, fuck
It's
it.
kind of hard to talk about a character's origin story without like spoiling everything.
Yeah.
So spoilers from here on out. When that guy, the projector, like starts getting weirded out once he visits her home, and she immediately like flips, where she realizes like, wait, he's not right, and she sort of like flips on him, be like what's wrong? Like it's like his fault
Yeah.
that he's uncomfortable.
Yeah, in my opinion, that scene is Oscar worthy. Like I know the 9-minute one is pretty good, and obviously that is like what most people are going to talk about. But to me, that scene where she turns on that guy is incredible acting.
Because her personality snaps.
Yeah, and like
in like a second.
I was like so afraid of her in that moment. Like I totally bought it. Like she
And it's like so desperate too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Where she's like, what did I do?
Yeah.
And that's like all she's saying. She's like, what did I do wrong?
And I guess it was so disturbing to me because I've known people who are actually like that in real life.
Yeah.
Like, or I've seen it or interacted with people like that, and like, ugh, it's scary.
Yeah, Pearl is just socially awkward.
That's putting it pretty mildly.
Yeah.
What kind of illness do you think she has? Like mental illness? I was trying to figure it out.
The story itself seems very similar to like Ed Gein, with like the overbearing mother on a farm.
Oh, sure.
Story.
Yeah.
The only difference is like Ed Gein's mother was like smothering, you know, where I feel like her mom's like the opposite, like very cold. So I mean, it's definitely some like disassociative thing because she clearly does not want to live the life she's living.
Yeah.
And it's safe to say that we don't even know if she has what it takes to live the life she wants to live as a star.
Right. Yeah.
Because even her dance didn't seem all that crazy.
No.
But in her head, she was incredible.
Oh yeah, she thought that she was amazing up there.
Yeah, and we see that, and then like it quickly turns on her. So, and I mean, again, that's a very common thing with serial killers is like narcissism.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
you can tell she has like a complete lack of empathy. Because almost all of like her relationship decisions are much more like tactical.
Oh yeah, like what can she get out of it rather than how am I helping this person? Yeah, that makes sense.
And we see that snap immediately when that guy starts getting comfortable. It's like, I gotta go. and she's like, wait, hang on, I don't want this. Why?
Right. Yeah.
And she starts turning on him. But again, and it's a lot like with serial killers, it's like impulse control. And we see earlier she's like killing animals.
Oh yeah,
like right away she kills a goose.
Yeah, and that was just like a random event. Like that goose just walked in,
and she does it so like innocently, like a kid playing.
Oh yeah,
because she was like dancing. She's like, "What are you doing here, Mr. Goose?" And she's like grabbing a pitchfork to kill it and feed it to her pet alligator Vito.
Yeah, yeah, that was awesome. I definitely agree with all that. She definitely has narcissistic traits, and she's like really good at dissociating. And I got the impression that she was like on the spectrum.
Oh yeah,
like honestly, like specifically that line where she's turning on the projectionist after he starts backing off, and first she says like, I feel things really deeply, something like that.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that is like that just sounds to me like someone who has like autism or Asperger's.
Like she doesn't know how to read someone.
Right, yeah. Or she like overreacts.
Yeah. And she overreacts a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, we see it like the most in her husband because she keeps talking about, how great her husband is, But every time we see her like thinking about it, like she's just more angry.
Yeah.
Than anything.
Or she's just straight up imagining him dying.
Yeah. Like there's even a part where he just blows up.
Yeah.
I was just trying to remember an X. What? I know she said she was like a dancer, but was she actually?
No, I think she said she wanted to be, but did not end up
Wanted to
doing
be.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know she confessed in that monologue. She's like, I'll, have a normal life. I'll give that all up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's safe to say that Howard, I mean, bless his heart, what a good guy for staying with her.
Oh, that he'd stand by her. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so, because in X, they're very loving.
Yeah.
Like, they're very affectionate.
Mm-hmm.
And I love, like, that line that he said in X where he's like, you're still the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. And it's like, just like, man, that guy either got Stockholm Syndrome or, like, the pussy's really good.
The pussy is probably really good. Let's be honest.
Because he just walked in on her whole family murdered.
Mm-hmm. I was wondering, like, does he know in X that she killed his sister?
I don't know. Well, her car is in the pond.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But remember, he didn't like his family. That's why he went with her. And I think that kind of plays into her resentment for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's like, oh, I only moved out to, like, marry this poor farm girl because my family's rich and they want me to, like, do all these things that I don't want to be. So I'm going to rebel.
Mm-hmm.
So Pearl could also be reading it as, like, he doesn't actually love me. He just wants to get back at his parents.
I see. That's a good interpretation. I like that. Yeah, because I was trying to, like, think of how Howard could have been okay with that. But I guess that's probably why. I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah.
On the first watch.
I mean, again, it could have been at first like, okay, I have to stay with you because you will murder me.
Yeah.
And then maybe over time, he learned to love.
That could, yeah. He might also be more okay with killing you after being in the war.
True.
Too. He might have learned that he liked it or something. That's a part of the movie, though, that I like, is that it doesn't explain every single little thing. Especially with the Howard stuff. Like, I really like that they, like, left that open.
We don't even see Howard, until, like, the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, till the very end.
And the whole movie, like, building up to it, she constantly mentions him. Or everyone's mentioning him. Yeah.
It was overall, like, this might be controversial to say, but I really thought that this movie was what Joker was trying to be.
Yeah.
In a way. Like just an examination of mental illness.
Right.
Or like Joker is like, it's very surface level, all the observations that it makes, and it, like, everything is, like, really obvious. And I felt like this was a lot more nuanced and interesting to watch. Like,
yeah, it's subtle.
Yeah, it was more subtle, and, like, it had just as good of a performance as Joaquin Phoenix in that movie, in my opinion. MIa Goth. Right. And, like, I felt like the writing was better, but I guarantee you it's not going to get nearly as recognized by the Academy as Joker was.
Horror movies never get recognized for anything.
Once I thought for sure after watching it that she would get some kind of nod, but then I was reading up online and that Toni Collette for Hereditary, nothing. And then
nothing.
There was something else. I think Midsommar, Florence Pugh, nothing. Yep. It's like, how do they just let these people that do so well, just because it's a genre movie, they just don't even care. They don't recognize it. It's like, ugh, it's terrible. It's just all a joke.
It's all a Joker.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's my Joker moment.
I would love to see Pearl as a Joker. Oh, the mom comes in on her dancing. I want to talk about that scarecrow because that scarecrow is like the scariest scarecrow I've ever seen in a movie.
I know. I thought it was going to open its eyes like any moment.
It looks like a crash test dummy head.
It does. Yeah.
But with eyes.
Yeah. I was thinking whatever farmer made that definitely wanted it to be creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, that farmer is a tormented soul. For him to make that.
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this scene is kind of going to be like the infamous scene. Like when people talk about Pearl, they're going to be like, whoa.
Yeah.
Remember when she came on that scarecrow? But I mean that scene is to show how I think repressed she is.
Yeah, I mean it's yeah.
Where she has like all this energy, she wants to get out, but she can't. But it's to the point where even as just scarecrow can turn her on. and it goes from so simple to like dancing to then just full on like riding him.
Yeah. It doesn't his face turn into the projectionist or something at one point?
Yeah, it does, because that was on her way back from the projectionist.
That's right, yeah.
Who also, the projectionist is kind of a creep.
Oh god, yeah. I really thought that he was going to do something to her in that scene in his booth.
Yeah.
When he's
Yeah,
showing
because
her
he
porn.
invites her over, and then he just starts like playing French porn. Which, I mean, to be fair, in the time, that is probably crazy.
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah.
now we can get that anywhere, but to see that back then is probably insane.
This is probably just genuinely shocking.
Yeah.
She seemed
it-
pretty shocked by it.
Yeah, and we don't really know what her deal is before, like the movie starts, like her sexual history.
Oh yeah.
But it's clear she wants to be very sexually active.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And we see that in X a lot, where she constantly wants poor Howie to bang her, but he can't because of his heart.
And by golly, it ended up killing him.
And
That poor son of a gun.
Did. Yeah. Again, pussy's so good it gives you cardiac arrest.
Oh yeah.
But I wasn't sure where like the movie was going, because he's just like, you could be in one of these pictures.
Oh yeah.
I was like, is she gonna start doing porn?
yeah. I wouldn't have liked that, honestly, if they went that route. I like that just little bit they had in there with it, where it's just like she gets shown it.
I think, and I mean, again, that creates more, I think, resentment towards the characters in X. Because she
Yeah.
definitely wasn't appalled by it. Mm-hmm. She was definitely intrigued, but then it's like, okay, well, this thing that was a taboo now is just like a multi-million-dollar industry
Right.
that I could have been in on.
Yeah. On the ground floor, really.
Yeah. I think what makes the kills so great in this one is all the people don't necessarily deserve it.
Yeah.
Like, they're mean. Or, like, I mean, you look at, like, the projectionist. He was definitely, like, using her. Mm-hmm. You know, he's clearly, like, the drifter type. The sister-in-law was super, like, condescending. And just, I don't know, very, like, snotty.
Yeah.
And I mean, the mother, while the mother was mean, I never got that it was from like an ill intent.
Oh yeah. I felt like she was just genuinely like disappointed in Pearl.
The mom is just like, you know, your dad can't work. We got to keep food on the table. And I mean, she even says that too. Mm-hmm. She's just like, you like, basically we survive. We don't get to like enjoy things like other people. We have to survive.
That's what I liked about all of these characters, because it's like none of them are just straight up villains.
Right.
Like, all of them have, from their perspective, you can see what they're trying to say. Like in a lesser movie, I definitely think the mom character would have been
Mom would have
just
been
like
like abusive.
oh yeah, she would have been like a huge bitch. But like in this, she was a bitch, but you could see why, and it made sense from her perspective, because she's struggling. Her husband's an invalid. Like they have to pay for stuff somehow, and Pearl is just doesn't seem to care. She's just off in her own little world, like buying things like candy.
She's special.
Yeah, exactly. And then apparently the mom knows that she's just killing things or being mean to
Yeah.
animals, at least.
Yeah, the mom knows. She said she like found all like some of the carcasses and stuff.
Right. Yeah. Yeah,
And I think that's
was
another
cool.
reason why the mom is so hard on her too. Mm-hmm. Because she knows she doesn't want Pearl to be a murderer.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
you could also argue, if she wasn't so awful, maybe Pearl wouldn't have been a murderer. Mm-hmm. But these things, I guess you don't really know.
No, you don't. That's what's cool about it. It's like that Because like I feel like the whole struggle of the movie is like Pearl is like you somewhat care for her. Because like at the beginning you see her like interacting with her animals and she seems to like love them, and she seems to like. Now, there's a lot of comparisons to Wizard of Oz. I think they make pretty purposefully.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I felt like at the beginning of the movie, like they're definitely trying to make her like Dorothy. Like she was even wearing overalls and like a blue shirt. And she seems to like be just like where Dorothy was at the beginning of that, where she's just like stuck on a farmhouse. She wants something bigger than this, but just can't figure out a way out of there.
Yeah.
And then, but this takes a super dark turn. You find out very quickly because Dorothy met a scarecrow and he was like a great friend. Pearl meets a scarecrow and he's a fuck toy basically.
Yeah. And it's the most terrifying thing ever.
Yeah. Which I like the aesthetic of this movie a lot.
Yeah, it really went for like the Wizard of Oz, like anywhere between like the 30s to 50s era of movies.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Which, I mean, X was like the 70s. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited what Maxine's going to be about, which it looks like it's going to be 80s.
I'm really curious what that is going to be like.
Yeah, let's get into, I think, our predictions.
Sure.
About it. So it's going to follow Maxine, our only real survivor from X. Mm-hmm. I don't think I don't think they should go the route that she becomes like a serial killer.
Yeah, I hope they don't do that.
I think it's definitely going to be her like navigating the porn industry.
Yeah.
And maybe using that experience she had is going to like provide like a lot of trauma.
I think, yeah, I hope that's where they go. I definitely don't want her to become like killer like Pearl, because I feel like you have to show some growth. And I definitely think they cast MIa Goth as both the role of Maxine and Pearl on purpose, because maybe they're showing like, oh, back then Pearl mental health wasn't as big of a thing back then, like she couldn't get the help that she needed, but maybe Maxine now you can show that she can exist and thrive in modern society and like get the help that she needs. I don't know, something like that, because I feel like if they just went with her being a killer, it would be like, I don't know,
what was the point?
There's not much arc that we haven't seen before. I mean,
and I mean, you could also go down the route that maybe she's not like successful at all.
Oh,
so it's kind of like I went through all that shit and I'm not even like getting rewarded for it.
And then maybe show her just being fine with that, unlike Pearl, where Pearl was so resentful and hateful. But maybe Maxine can just move on to something else if she doesn't make it and just be fine, just like keep thriving and surviving in life. I don't know. Yeah,
I really don't know where they're gonna go.
Yeah, you have no idea what they could do, and it's kind of exciting because I was that way with X, where literally I had not seen a trailer for the movie before I saw it. Like I had just seen the poster and I knew the title. And I knew it was about porn. That was it.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty cool. We just have no idea what it'll be.
Yeah, I hope it's like Boogie Nights meets like a slasher.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Because I think that's what it's most likely going to be.
Yeah. Because I definitely feel like each one of these movies has had a movie as inspiration.
Right.
Like, obviously, X was Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, and Pearl definitely felt like The Shining.
Mm-hmm. It's The Shining and Wizard of Oz, for sure.
I'm excited for Maxine. I don't know when it'll happen, but I hope, now that they have enough time.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see.
It's weird having a new horror franchise. That's good.
Especially a slasher one. Those you don't ever see a good slasher anymore.
You never do.
No.
The only slashers that are made now are those weird Blumhouse movies that are marketed towards teenagers.
Oh God, like They Them.
Yeah, unfortunately. It's just person in mask with knife. And that's it.
And they always have some convoluted ass backstory that you don't care about.
Maybe that's what Maxine's gonna be about. Pearl actually comes back because the thorn brings her back to life.
Oh, tied in with Halloween?
Yeah.
Whoa, that'd be awesome.
Don't lie to me. Yeah, can you imagine them just completely undermining all the characters in Maxine?
And just making it tie into like Halloween.
Yeah.
Not even the good Halloween, like the shitty like trilogy that no one likes.
CG Loomis shows up.
Oh, God.
She's not human, that Pearl.
You're Michael's cousin.
Oh my god. She shares the bloodline. Look at her wrist. The mark of the thorn. There's rage inside of her.
And then for no reason at all, that thorn symbol appears on her wrist.
Yeah, even though we've never seen it.
Yeah. I just think CG Loomis would be so fucking funny. Just because it'd be so tasteless.
Come on, Halloween ends. Give me some tasteless CGI Loomis.
I will say, though, I did really appreciate that they did not go that route for Kills for his cameo in that.
Yeah.
I liked that it was just some dude in makeup. And he looked really good.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And they kept it at like a distance, too.
Right, yeah. It wasn't like so distracting.
I just remember when we were watching and we heard Loomis's voice and we both just like looked at each other. Like, what? He's here?
Yeah. It was awfully exciting, let me tell you.
Yeah. Probably the most exciting part of the movie.
Honestly, unfortunately.
All right. Well, we have to save this Halloween talk for our later episodes for Halloween.
Yes.
It seeps so much into our blood that we're even talking about it on different episodes. We can't get away from Mikey.
I know. The next Halloween will be H20 and Resurrection, so that should be pretty fun, hopefully.
Fun is a good word to put it. No, H2O is fine. Resurrection,
yeah, H2O was not bad.
Resurrection, I don't know about that. Well, we can safely recommend Pearl.
Oh yeah.
I recommend see it in the theater if you can.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. It's just as good as X. If you liked X, then you have to see it.
Yeah.
You could definitely even watch this movie without needing to see X.
Oh yeah, I think even if you didn't like X, you might like this one because it's so
different.
Yeah, it's so drastically different in tone and storyline.
It's more of like a character study. Go to your local theater, see Pearl, buy it when it comes out. We like Pearl, and we'll definitely be watching Maxine whenever that happens.
Hell yeah, brother.
We're big Pearl heads here.
Oh yeah, we'll be there opening night to see Maxine's butthole. Let me tell you.
Yeah, just that's how it starts. Just like the most like the worst porn shot ever. Just her like gaping asshole.
A hairy gaping asshole that's dirty too. Might as well throw that in.
Yeah. Can we get more poop on her asshole? We need more poop.
Where's the poop applier? We need her in your stat.
You get the poop bucket?
Oh no.
What a great way to end this. All right, go see Pearl. There's no dirty buttholes.
No, we promise.
We promise. But there is scarecrows. There's some dirty scarecrows.
Oh yeah.
We recommend Pearl. Go see it. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.